hope everybody sees that. And there's a famous quote by Elon Musk: "The lithium batteries are now the new oil." So let's see if it will happen for the market as well. And because of the last decade of the EV revolution, we're seeing EVs sales is going to take over the auto industry. This is a report by S&P Global talking about the EV versus the traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. And you can see from the report, it's projected that EV will overtake the market share by traditional vehicles by 2030. So let's go to basics. Talk about some basic lithium ion cell. Probably know some of this information. Our focus today, when we talk about battery metals, is the materials that make up the anode and cathode of the lithium ion cell in each of the battery. You also know that copper foil is being used in the current collector in this diagram here. So lithium is the main focus here. We talk about the last 12 months price chart. 2022 is a big year for lithium with historical high price last year, but since the beginning of the year, the market has crashed a little bit, and it's mainly because of the China's EVs demand has been cooling off because the government hasn't renewed the government subsidies, which is really important incentive for people to buy the EVs in the country. So you've seen since Lunar New Year, the market has come down. And from the yellow is high lithium hydroxide, and the purple line is talking about lithium carbonate. They can all come down as well. You're just stating that the high price from last year is hard to maintain. But moving forward, we think the lithium price will be a bit higher than right now, at least more sustainable in the near term and future. So let's talk about this important information to know: the supply chain for the lithium-ion battery, the EV. And right now we're talking about the metals, which is the upstream in this diagram, all the miners extracting lithium and other metals. And they go to the processing, refining more materials to create the anode and cathode materials. And then they got shipped to the battery manufacturers. And then they pack it, they're selling it to the automakers. So this whole supply chain right now is traveling around the world, travel many miles apart from different places, which can be a very risky towards the raw material, because as we all know, that geopolitical situations can be very different in many places. So in moving forward, we believe we already see this from different regions having their own supply chain, meaning let's say Europe, North America, and other places in Asia will have their own regional supply chain to maintain a more constant and consistent supply from materials, mining, to the end batteries. So this is what we think that will all happen in moving forward with this EV battery. And as I said, all the countries are increasing the capacity. They're competing in this more market in the supply chain. Right now, China is far ahead of everybody. But in moving forward, this is a report, research done by ID Tech. They're thinking about Europe is gearing towards building more gigafactories, building facilities, capacity to manufacture batteries. By 2027, North America and Europe will become a major player as well. So let's talk about currently what the main places in producing more lithium. You can see Australia, Chile, and China, the big three are the major lithium producer right now. This is from last year's data. Argentina, Brazil is not too far away in the 4th and 5th spot. Talk about Argentina in the golden triangle of lithium production. And remember recent acquisition by GG Mining, a big China mining group, and is scheduled to open its Argentina 3Q lithium project that they acquired from Canadian listed company New Lithium last year. So that's worth noting. And Argentina becoming more interesting in the play as well. We see this recent news today actually just announced the big automakers also investing $90 million US into an Argentina lithium, which is a small junior company listed in Canadian exchange as well. So it is important to know that all these big automakers also jumping into the race to be part of the supply chain to secure the raw material supplies early in the game. So these are some of the deposits. It's already 2 years old. So you can imagine more lithium deposit and mines and projects around the world. We talk about the hotspot being Argentina, Golden Triangle. Brazil is also another hotspot recently. One of the successful company called Sigma Lithium, presented in our conference before. They are a successful case in the last few years from junior company into producer. So, and there's other hotspots as well. Let's say in Canada, in Quebec, there's a major discovery recently, and also in part of the West Coast in the US as well. So there's a lot of emerging places, resources, deposits in the lithium space that we can see around the world. So besides the location, technology is also playing an important role in the lithium mining part. Recently, DLE, direct lithium extraction, is one of the major topics in the lithium space. This diagram just shows you typically how you mine lithium, different methods. You've got hard rock and brine solutions. In brine solution, traditionally, we use evaporation pond. But with the DLE, now we can increase the recovery of lithium in lower cost condition and also lower impact on the environment. So it's, in terms of time frame, also much shorter. So this has become a game changer for the lithium mining space in terms of this technology. But remember, the technology is not universal. It caters towards every specific project, has its unique way of using DLE. So this is just showing the two diagrams, showing how the time frame can go. So in summary, talk about lithium opportunities. Resource is important, meaning you cannot just have a concept just too early stage. Having a resource is the minimum. Supply chain, very important. Whether your location is being part of creating a supply chain within the region is important to consider. Technology advancement, we should talk about that, DLE, and management, of course, the track record of putting together such mining project to advance it. And then we just quickly glance through the rest of the battery metals that we'll talk about: copper, graphite, nickel, cobalt, and manganese. Copper demand electrification, quickly you can see, by using an EV, copper usage is around four times more than the traditional vehicle in the past. In graphite is fundamental to every battery because the anode, remember we break down the lithium ion cell, anode is actually majority is by graphite. So graphite is hard to replace in this equation. Nickel and cobalt are the two major components of one of the chemistry, NMC, so nickel, manganese, cobalt chemistry of the lithium ion cell being widely used right now. But cobalt, because it's being sourced in only a few countries now, and so people worry about the high pricing and easily disrupted. So potentially cobalt can be replaced by other new type of batteries, like in this diagram. Recently, lithium iron phosphate is actually LFP. It's the new design that actually showing performance as close as to the old design. So we see how this developed, and that can change the demand for cobalt. Manganese, also essential metal under the radar, is also an important stabilizer in all kinds of chemistry in the cathode. So this is important, but it's falling under the radar right now. So whatever I just mentioned, some of the coverage that you can see from battery metals, some articles, just like this one for recent major discovery by US in the volcano area in Nevada is also being covered. You can see from our website, NAI 500. Feel free to go in after today's event to check it out.